Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial on how to create really fast diagrams using Rhino 3D and Illustrator. So I'm going to start by just downloading a site using CAD Mapper, and I'm going to zoom in to London. We'll just choose one in Canary Wharf. Let's say I want this circular building, I'm going to replace that. And what I can do is just drag a box around here. Now up to 1 kilometer squared is absolutely free, so I can use this file. I'm going to make sure that 3D buildings is turned on, and I'm not going to download the topography on this occasion. And I'm going to download just the outlines for the roads, and I'm going to click create map. So what that's going to do now is download my map, and this is what we end up with. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to my downloaded file, and this is the most recent one. I'll just delete these ones just so I know which one it is. I'm going to go to extract all, extracts the file, and now open this file and then open up Rhino 3D. This is going to open up a Rhino session, and I'm just going to do a perspective view, and it looks like it downloaded my topography anyway, which is fine, and I'll show you how we can fix that. So I'm just going to turn this to shaded mode, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this topography right now, because I find that sometimes in London it doesn't do a very good job because the topography looks very hilly, but because this is a diagram, I just want it to be flat as possible. You'll see that what has been brought in from CAD Mapper is all of these different layers. So I want to select all of the curves firstly. So I'm going to do cell CRV, which will select all the curves. Then what I'm going to do, if I go in the front view, just down here, is I'm going to type set PT, and I'm going to change to Z, and then I'm going to go to 0. Go back to perspective, and now all of my line work is flat. And if I want to align all of these buildings, what I can do is go to buildings, right click, select objects, and I'm going to go just to the front view again. And this time what I can do is I can use the align tool, which is just here. I can expand it out. I'm going to go to align bottom, and again I'm just going to go to 0, and that's just going to align all of my buildings to the bottom, like you see here. Perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this file. This is a closed extrusion, it says, and what it's done is it's extruded this line here. But I don't like how many lines this is giving me, so I'm just going to recreate a solid cylinder, and I'm just going to go to the center, if I can, of this object here. And if it's not allowing me to select, there we go, center. I'm going to get as close as I can to the original, and I'm just going to extrude this up. I'm just going to stop at the top there. I'm going to select the other cylinder. I'm just going to delete that. So I have this new cylinder that I want to show in my site model. So what you'll see here also is I've got these lines which are created from where the river is, and I'm just going to delete those because I actually don't want those to appear in my model. So I'm just going to delete those lines. I'm going to hit delete. Perfect. Okay, now what I want to do is use a command called make 2D. I'm going to use make 2D and I'm going to create different line work from a certain angle of this building. In order to set my angle that I want to create, this is in perspective mode right now, but what I can do is I can either go over here and change that mode in the settings, So I can go to perspective or I can go to parallel. So now it's parallel projection. And what I can then do is over here, I have my named views, or I can go to the drop down here. I go to set view. I can go to named views and then it'll appear here. So it's not there right now. But if I want it to appear, I go to set view, named views, and it's going to bring it up over here. And I'm just going to click here, save as, and I'm going to call this southeast view and click OK. So no matter where I'm moving my model now, if I double click there, it's going to take me straight back to the southeast view. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to export all of the different lines. And in order to do that, what I need to do is select all. So I can type cell all here and it'll select everything. Or I can use the cell all here in the command my tabs up here, and that'll select everything. And then what I would like to do is type make 2D. And then I can select how I want to make the 2D drawing that I have. And I'm going to take my view. I'm going to do output layers and then give this layer a name of southeast view. And it'll start to create new layers when I do this. I'm going to turn off scene silhouette. And I'm going to keep a viewport rectangle, and that will become clear why in a moment. And then I can hit OK. I'm going to go back to my layers here, and you'll see these layers have now appeared. Okay, so I'm going to go in my top view, and with this still selected, I'm not selecting away from it. I'm just going to drag this out to the right hand side, and now I have this 2D line drawing of my 3D model. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my rectangle from my viewport, and I'm going to type trim, and I'm just going to trim away any lines that are close to this edge, because this is the edge that I'm going to use as the boundary. And I'm just going to select all of these lines and just trim them away. Okay, that's pretty good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to now select all of my curves, and they group from the output. So I'm going to just type ungroup because I want to ungroup them and hit enter. Now I'm going to select all of the lines that are outside of the rectangle, and I'm just going to delete them away. All of my lines, and then any lines that I don't need. Perfect. Okay, now I'm ready to export these lines into Adobe Illustrator, but before I do that, there's a couple of lines that I need that I'm going to show you how I can get them. So I want the outline or the silhouette of this cylinder here, and I'm just going to check that I've got all the other lines that I need, or if any lines just need some very quick cleaning up. But it doesn't look too bad right now. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create 3 layers. The first one is going to be called building, or I'm going to call it the cylinder outline. And I'm going to create another one which is called river outline. And I'm going to create another one which is called green areas. Perfect. So what you'll see here is as I select this, it will tell me that this gives me the visible curves, and this particular one is in the visible layer. But this is actually a green area, and we can start to use that within our model. So I'm just going to go up here to my model, to green area, right click, and change object layer. So now it will move it to that layer. And I can do the same with any of the other green areas or areas that I think that I want to put inside there. I can do the same thing and start to, if I just go back to my although I can see that some of the other green areas are also here, around there, and there, and there. And so what I can do is just select any of those areas that I want to include within this. So I'm going to select this one, for example, and this one. And then I'm going to put this into the green area, and then go to change object layer. I can do the same over here. And I'm just going to go green area, right click, change objects layer. Okay, I'm going to just delete this line away because I don't need it right now. I'm going to delete that one as well. The same here. I can delete that line away. And you'll see that some lines start to overlap each other. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the areas that I want to create an outline of, and I'm going to run the curve boolean command. So the way the curve boolean works is it'll take an object like so. If I just select everything, and whatever I select inside, it will create a curve around those edges. So if I hit enter now, just make sure that I'm on the cylinder outline layer, hit enter, and it'll go there. Do the same again. Make sure that I'm on the river outline layer, hit enter, and now just select inside the river. It should be this guy here, and that one there. And then it runs down this way. And I hit enter again, and I can do green area as well, and hit enter, and I can start to select any of the green areas that I want to show on my mapping. Also, I might not want to choose the areas inside the line, so I can just select those and select that, and then it'll allow me to just select the areas in between, and I can then start to create these outlines for the green areas as well that I want to specify on my map. This one, this one, this one, this one, and there might be some over here as well that I want to select, and I can just start to select some of the different areas that I want to display as some of the green areas, and select these two as well. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do now, after I've selected all of these, is I'm going to run a command that will allow me to now export this into Illustrator, and I can start to play around with this in Illustrator. So the command that I need to run to do that is the export selected. I hit export, and I can choose Adobe Illustrator because I want it to be an Illustrator file. I'm just going to save it into the folder that I downloaded. So I'm going to say line work, and I'm going to hit save. Now there's one other thing as well that I need to do, is just make sure that I click snapshot, and I'm going to hit OK. Actually, so it fills order the layers. So I need to make sure I click order layers because I want to keep these layers in order, and I hit OK. Once I've done that, what I can then do is go back to my southeast view, and I'm just going to change to ambient occlusion, and I'm going to just change to Arctic mode just on here. I'm going to type cell CRV. I'm going to hit hide, and I'm going to do view capture to file. What that's going to allow me to do is take this view capture, and I'm going to export the ambient occlusion from here as well. And I'm just going to keep the resolution as it is right now. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to save it inside the same file. And now I'm going to open up that file that I just created, and I'm going to open up the line work file in Adobe Illustrator. So with my line work file now open, you'll see that I have my layers over here on the right hand side. I can expand out and I have my different layers exported. If that's not there, you can go to Window and we can just go down to Layers and make sure that that's turned on. So now I have this. I want to now check the size of my artboard, which is 1920 by 1080, which is fine for what I want. And I now just need to start to scale this out. Now I can either just drag a box and select everything, and it will select everything. And we know when something is selected because a little box will appear here in the layers. So whenever something's selected, and if I just click over there, it will only select what's on that layer. But if I want to select everything, I can select everything, and I can start to then scale this out. Okay. And another thing that I could do is if I go back, I can go up here and just constrain the constant width and height proportions. And then what I could do is also start to specify the width and height of my file that I want. And I could say like 600, for example, and then it will scale proportionally. And I could say 800, and it will scale proportionally because I managed to create the lock between those scale proportions. Now what I want to do is File, Place, and I'm going to get the image that I created, which is from the downloads, and I'm going to go to the capture, and I'm just going to put it there. Now the capture will be slightly bigger because it took the whole screen resolution. But what I can do here is, because I know that my width is 800. Again, if I lock this and type 800, it should. Okay, click OK. It should scale this to a similar size as my other view. And so I can now move this into place. It looks like it's slightly smaller. So what I'll do is I'll make sure the height is the same. So here, if I go back to here and select all of my line work, and then what I want to do is make sure that I just change this to a nominal size, let's say 600. And then if I do the same over here, if I try this at 600 as well, 600, the height should be the same. Perfect. So we know that they are the same. So what I want to do now is I want to make sure that I create a new layer and call it background. And I want to put this object onto the background layer and then move the background all the way to the bottom of my layers. So my background is behind all of my line work. Great. So we can see here that it's starting to work. We might need to move some things just ever so slightly. But we can start to see that this is now creating a nice looking diagram. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to select all of my line work, and I really want to now change the stroke size just up here. So I'll go up here, I'll go to 0.5, for example. That will change all of my line work to be 0.5. I think I might need to move this ever so slightly back that way. And you'll see that some things might not be exactly the right resolution. So I'm just going to keep just tweaking this because I think it just needs scaling ever so slightly. And then it might need scaling a little bit more this way as well. Let's just see how close we can get it. I think that looks about right to me. Perfect. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I can do now is start to play around with the strokes that go around the different elements that I had outlined on my Rhino file. So the first one is the cylinder outline. So I'm going to go up here. I'm just going to select that, and that's going to give me my cylinder outline. And now I can just pump up the size of that. And if I want this stroke to go to the outside, I just click on stroke up here, and I just move that to the outside here. And when I on the align stroke, and now my central sphere, my central cylinder really stands out on my file, which is great. And I can do the same again with the green areas and the other areas. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make sure that I move these layers to the very top so that my line work remains over the other lines. And then what I'm going to do, I can take the lines that I've created, for example, the river outline, and I can now select that one. And let's say that I want to copy this. I'm going to go Control C, and then in order to copy in place, I'm going to do paste in place, which is Control Shift and V. So I'm going to also do Control Shift V, and now I have two lines, and I'm just going to select one of those outlines that I created. I'm just going to go back a second again, just here. And what I'm going to do is change the fill by double clicking on here. I'm going to go to make it like a blue color because I really want the water to stand out as a really important feature. So I'm just going to take some of the most like important features. I'm going to make it stand out. I can also delete lines if I don't want them. And now where water stands out, and I can see that that's clearly water now. If I missed some as well, which I think I missed this area here, I can also begin to create a shape there. And the way I can do that is by selecting all of my lines, and I can go to blend shape here. And this is similar to the curve Boolean tool, where I can just select inside there, hit enter, and click OK. I'm just going to go shape, and that should now create an outline there. Perfect. And what I can do is just use my eyedropper and just match the lines there. Perfect. So now what I can do is select my green area outlines, and again I can just go up here, double click, change it to like a green color, whatever green I want. If I want it to just be a little bit lighter or a little bit more subtle, I can click OK there. And I can start to show these green areas. Now what's happened here is this curve, for some reason, what it's doing is it's not selecting just only my curve outlines, which are my solid curves that I did with the curve Boolean. It's also selecting all the other green areas as well that I'd selected previously. So I'm just going to make sure that I have, I'm just going to delete those just very quickly. And I'm just going to select the areas that I want to keep and just make sure that these curves actually inhabit. Yeah, these should be okay. That's that. I'm just going to hit delete on that. And I'm now going to make sure that I select again my green areas and just change the color. I can just match the color that I had before, or I can just go down to green. Just make it like lighter green if I want to. And then I can hit OK. And now I've demonstrated where the green areas are within my file. So similarly, what I can also do is I can go back here and go to my cylinder, which is turned off right now. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm just going to do cylinder fill because I want this to be on a separate layer. And I'm going to select this. I'm going to do Control C to copy, and then I'm going to do Control Shift V to copy it in place. And I'm going to move my copy, which is there, to the cylinder fill layer. Let me just make sure that I've got that. Yep. That's there. Perfect. So now I'm just going to go over to cylinder fill. I'm just going to click on that. And what I can now do is I can make the stroke non-existent by going to none, but I can increase the fill and give it like a color, like magenta if I want. Or I can go here and just start to change it on here and hit OK. And that will start to then change the color of my main mass. And if I want to drop the opacity to bring some of the ambient occlusion through, I can do that. But I might need to just pump up the color because I'm dropping the opacity just there. Okay, so that's my diagram ready. There might be some cleanup that you need to do. So in this area, for example, I just want to delete that because I didn't want to keep that part. And I just want to just keep some of these areas. And now I'm ready to start just putting some lines and text on. So I can go over here, create a new layer, call this annotations. This is where I'm going to put my annotations, and I'm going to put them right to the top. And I'm going to draw a line, and I can drag this line out. And what I can then do is go to stroke and then change the end of the line to have like a circle or an arrow. I'm just going to put a circle on it. And then I can create some text just here and just drag that out. And I can say main building mass, for example, or whatever it is that you want to demonstrate. And we can also then play around with the font and the font size, make it readable. And we can also copy and paste this down here and make the size larger, for example. And then give this a name, building mass studies, for example. And we can put multiple on here. All you need to do is change that mass, follow this exact same process again, and you can do different building mass studies. We could change the or the other way around. If we want to make an emphasis on it being a mass study, you can say bold, so building up just a little bit of hierarchy, and then go to regular, and then we have that. Okay, this is now ready to export as a file. And so that's just really a quick way that we can make really fast diagrams in Rhino and Illustrator. So this is a useful process that I use all the time, and hopefully it's been helpful for you as well.